Front Mission 4 is a turn-based strategy game developed by Square Enix in 2004 for the PlayStation 2. It's a tactical role-playing game from the makers of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. It fuses JRPG-style storytelling with a Western modern military setting. The game splits its time between two different protagonists, Elsa in Europe and Daryl in Colombia. The game jumps between these two points of view, where you take command of two sets of Jaegers. Mobile suits. No, wait, Wanzers. I swear, it is almost impossible to keep all these different names for giant humanoid robot slash mecha slash teenage boy power fantasy straight. This is the fourth installment in a long-running Front Mission series. Although titled Front Mission 4, it is actually the sixth installment in the series, and it describes events that take place several years before Front Mission 2. The reason for all this madness is, of course, Square Enix moon logic. The universe of Front Mission 4 uses the EC, seen from Elsa's perspective as a stand-in for the European Union, and the USN, seen from Daryl's perspective as a stand-in for the USA. The Republic of Zaftra is a stand-in for Russia. Basically, the Russians, Zaftrans, try to stoke tensions between the EU and Uncle Sam. Before you start, this game came out years before Tom Clancy's End War, which has an eerily similar premise. We see you, Mr. Clancy. Each campaign has their own baddies, Zaftra for the EC and the Colombian Army for the USN, with some obvious overlap towards the end. The story is deep and complex. Some games remind you of your age. Front Mission's story reminds you of its age. The idea that Europe and America would be at each other's throats over a sneak attack and no one would suspect Russia is silly because of, well, recent events. Also, mild spoiler alert, but if you're waiting for a big reunion between the two teams of Wanzers you use, well, I first played this game in the early 2000s and let's just say I'm still waiting. The gameplay will be familiar to any turn-based strategy fans. You select how you want your units to move, and whether they will attack the enemy or support each other. Then the enemy takes a turn doing the same, until everyone is dead and the kaiju inherit the earth without any pesky giant robots in their way. No, wait, that's Pacific Rim again, damn it. As an RPG, there is deep customization, where you equip your Wanzers with different body parts, weapons, and items to use in battle. There is even exploration in the form of you pretending like you are visiting locations when in fact you're actually just reading text boxes. Yes, this is exploration via text. Very old tactical RPG style. Think Suikoden Tactics. There are melee, sniper, rocket launcher, machine gun, shotgun, and repair Wanzers, as well as a bunch of crazy hybrids. The game actually lets you equip your Wanzer teams any way you like. While each Wanzer has what amounts to a class, you can purchase an entirely different class with in-game credits, of course. This was well before the days of microtransactions and general EA tomfoolery. Your pilots also gain EXP and abilities that can be applied to any Wanzer they pilot. However, the extent to which you can modify them is limited by weight. You can't simply add increasingly tough body parts and weapons because you will hit weight caps fast. For example, rockets are powerful and accurate, but they're heavy. So you can either have rockets or guns, but not both. Also, if you want rockets, you will need a big, heavy Wanzer that will be slow and be unable to dodge incoming enemy attacks. Trade-offs. This game is all about trade-offs. Much like life in general is a choice between visiting your in-laws or a week of hiding in a seaside cave. There are no right answers here. Most of the game's mission objectives boil down to kill the enemy, or stop thing from being killed by the enemy. Simple. Let's talk about the negatives. Do you love the idea of stopping a runaway compactor machine using only your groin? Well, if you do, you're in luck. The difficulty setting of Armored Core 4 has been made to your exact specifications. There is only one difficulty setting, and I can define it only as hard. You know how some games have deep combat or customization mechanics, but you can interact with them if you want, but you don't really need that to interact with them to get through the entire game? Well, Front Mission 4 has never heard of such casual gamer blasphemy. You need to have a mastery of nearly all the game's mechanics and a healthy dose of luck to get past most levels on the first playthrough, partly because enemy Wanzers dodge more bullets than Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. To be fair, dodging attacks is your best defense against the seemingly overpowered enemies, and there are quick saves. But holy shit, you will quick save yourself into oblivion when you realize the enemy has reinforcements on the way, or they make a beeline straight to that friendly base you have been trying to protect. This game follows the advice of Aragorn. No mercy indeed. Oh, and you keep acquiring new characters even late into the game, and the story of the two campaigns should be more interrelated than they are. Let's talk positives. This is one polished turn-based RTS with fully voiced, exciting cutscenes. The linking system is simple. One attack triggers a nearby attack, but it makes you think several moves ahead in a way that most turn-based strategies do not. The characters themselves are actually likable, with plenty of fun little moments and no forced anime comedy bits. You know what I mean.
Yeah! Listen to that engine! You know what that sound is? Power!
We don't need that. No one needs that. Instead, we have good dialogue, good voice acting, and story that, while unbelievable in a modern context, it at least all comes together. It's polished, reasonably well balanced, and tough but fair. Sometimes gamers have an itch that needs scratching. Modern warfare depowers the infantrymen. Tanks, helicopters, missiles, all of this has done away with the days of the infantry charge and of heroic last stands. Mecha fantasy scratches that itch. It lets a single warrior or handful of warriors turn the tide of an entire armed conflict. And Armored Core 4 lets you do that as well as any game. So hop into those Wanzers and suit up.
This is but war.